One more misunderstanding I want to clear up. Under our plan, no federal dollars will be used to fund abortions, and federal conscience laws will remain in place.
Well, our next guest may not have shouted out, "You lie," after hearing that assertion, but he does say the president was not telling the full truth. Moreover, this Democrat says if something is not done to stop taxpayer dollars from going toward abortions, he has the votes to kill the House bill. Michigan Congressman Bart Stupak is a pro-life Democrat and a member of the House Energy and Commerce Committee. He's my guest now. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning.
All right, so we have heard from President Obama, from Nancy Pelosi, and from numerous Democrats that this is a scare tactic being used by those on the right, that it is an out-and-out lie to say that federal funds, that any taxpayer dollars could go toward abortions. You say that they're wrong?
They're wrong. The amendment, H.R. 3200, the health care bill that went through the Energy and Commerce Committee, that were involved in the amendment process for about 2 weeks in late July, actually added an amendment called the CAPS Amendment, which says public funds can be used for abortion, and in the public option in particular, at least one plan must have abortion coverage in that public option plan. And everyone who participates in the public option, as they pay their premium, which the taxpayer would pay, at least $1 and no more than $12 per month goes into this fund to pay for abortions. Now, that's the CAPS amendment. We tried to defeat it in committee. We lost that vote 28-30. Therefore, CAPS amendment is now part of H.R. 3200 as it reported out of the Energy and Commerce Committee to the full House of Representatives for consideration. And so that is just not correct.
How can the president come out and keep saying that? I mean, I don't mean to sound naive, but how can he take to the floor of the Congress and say such a thing? And then I want our viewers to know, you're not some blue dog Democrat. You are a liberal Democrat. In fact, according to your liberal quotient, rating by the Americans for Democratic Action was 95% in 2007 and 90% in 2008. I take it you're an Obama supporter and a Pelosi supporter. Why do they keep saying that no taxpayer dollars are going to go for abortion?
Right. When you take a look at the National Journal, I'm right there at 50. I'm a moderate. Groups rate certain ratings, and they'll give you a higher rating or lower rating, depends on which votes they look at. When you take the National Journal, all my votes, I'm a straight moderate, okay? I don't belong to blue dog groups. I don't belong to the progressive group. I'm just a plain old Democrat doing my job. If you take a look at H.R. 3200 as originally written, abortion was never mentioned. It was the amendment process that added this amendment, which now makes public funding for abortion available. And I've told the White House advisors, I've told the president's advisors, because he said this before, and I said, look, I'm not trying to pick a fight here with the president. If you're talking about 3200, technically he's correct. But you all know about the CAPS amendment. You all know it's part of the bill. You can no longer say that with a straight face. So I was disappointed when the president got up there last week and said, oh, no funding for abortion is found in the bill. That is not true.
So I know that you have asked to meet with President Obama. You want to just have a sit down with him over this. What's happened?
Yes. Phone calls gone back and forth, just trying to find some time where both of us can either sit down and meet or at least have a good, honest telephone conversation about our differences on what H.R. 3200 says and the addition of the CAPS amendment, which makes public funding for abortion first time ever in our nation's history. And there are a lot of us who are philosophically, legally, and morally opposed to public funding for abortion.
Well, and I know that you are pushing to have an amendment that would make clear, that would prevent this, that would make sure no taxpayer dollars go toward abortion. And Nancy Pelosi has shut you down?
Well, we haven't gone to the Rules Committee yet, but if history has any judge, since the first of the year, all of our pro-life amendments that we have to put in every year on appropriation bills, every one has been denied. We have not been allowed to offer them on the floor. So if we're not allowed to offer what we call the Hyde Amendment, which basically says no public funds for abortion in national health care, when that rule comes up, if our amendment is not in order, if we're not allowed to offer our amendment, then we're going to try to shut down the rule. In other words, defeat the rule, then the bill cannot come to the floor for a vote. So that is our strategy, that is our plan, They're well aware of it.
So without getting too deep into the weeds, you're going to try to shut down a vote on the bill if you can't include in that vote a vote on whether
yes.
A cutoff basically on public funds for abortion. Do you have the votes? I mean, could you and other pro-life Democrats, plus the Republicans I assume you're talking to, could you defeat the bill?
Correct. Yes, we believe we have the votes, but we're not taking anything for granted. We speak to members every day on this issue. We have another letter circulating right now to both the president and the speaker. I know other individual pro-life members on both Democrats and Republican sides have also sent bills to the president, letters to the president since his speech last week saying, look, this bill's not going to go anywhere unless we have a straight up or down vote which says no public funding for abortion in healthcare. That's been the law of the land since 1976 under Democratic and Republican administrations. We're not changing it now because there's a new administration. We want to uphold this principle of the federal government does not pay for abortions.
It's tough to have a debate when the people on the other side won't even acknowledge your point on the facts. I mean, Nancy Pelosi continues to say there is that abortion funding is already out of this bill. So it's tough to convince her to allow your amendment when she says it's out. I hear your point, which is it is not out. I'll give you the last quick final word, sir.
Yeah, if she really believes that, give me my amendment. If anything, my amendment would just be redundant. Just give me my amendment then. There's no fear of my amendment then. Pelosi should have no fear of my amendment.
Fair point. Well, Congressman Bart Stupak, very interesting. We'll be watching to see how this thing unfolds. Thanks so much for being here.